overthinking is when the date goes bad.
Yeah.
You know, just be yourself. Of course, be cordial and always treat your date with the respect that you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I had difficulty with that because I had identity issues with my race specifically. Growing up, I just was ashamed to be Asian. I was ashamed, and I would have given anything to be white growing up. Because
Same. I went to a really white school.
Yeah.
A white middle school, high school, everything. Mm-hmm. All of the attractive girls, quote unquote attractive girls, and all the popular guys, everyone was white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shameful. I remember bringing Asian food into the lunchroom, and people looked at me like they just didn't want to. I remember two kids like looked at me and kind of like, you know, moved 2 seats down because they smelled my Asian food, and it was humiliating. It was humiliating, and first impressions do last, unfortunately, in situations.
There's
like
that
school.
core age range where once something happens to you, you keep it with you as a core belief. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, and we need to teach our kids better. We need to teach kids to be a little more understanding of culture, and I just feel like, especially here in America, like we're not cultured enough to understand things, to understand other people, to understand the differences that make us unique. If it's different, you know, than what we're used to, we tend to, instead of being curious and wanting to understand, I feel like kids these days bully or just alienate what they don't fully want to assimilate to or what they don't fully understand.
Gotcha.
But you know, this is coming from a guy who was bullied most of his life, and for better or for worse, it's affected me. The man you see before you today, bullying has played a large role in my life. You know, I mean, I think I've turned out to be a pretty okay guy, pretty awesome guy. You know. So I feel like I've overcome a lot of those adversities, and a lot of it was definitely, I'm sure, even though no one has ever outright said it, a lot of it was definitely because of my identity as an Asian man. I can't tell you how many Asian jokes, the predominant jokes that were directed my way had nothing to do with my talent. It had nothing to do with my mental capacity. It had everything to do with my appearance and my identity as an Asian man. Chinese jokes here, Asian jokes there, stereotypes, you know, small penis this, oh, aren't you supposed to be good at math that? It's like, okay, haha, I heard it first 10 times, but in society's eyes, that's funny. You know, I've always felt like the other. I never felt like I belonged. I joined a fraternity, predominantly white fraternity. I was the only Asian for a long time, and everyone would make their Asian jokes at me. And I remember I had a grand little who was Filipino. He was the only second Asian in my fraternity, predominantly white fraternity, and everyone would make Asian jokes at me, and I kind of just rubbed it off like, oh, whatever, you know, just to fit in. And then I remember when he was coming up and everyone would say the same Asian jokes to him, he felt hurt because he was much more proud of his Asian heritage. And I remember telling him, consoling him, saying, "Yo, bro, it's just jokes. Don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah." And it took me like 10 years after the fact to realize, wait a minute, I just contributed to telling a kid to, you know, I felt disgusting. Because here's this kid who's proud of his culture and I'm telling him to suppress it to fit in. And I felt terrible. And I've had talks with him since and I've apologized, but to this day it bothers me that I did that. You know, just, yeah, man. I mean, like, we're not even scratching the surface about what, I mean, that's not to say that all women were not into Asian men. I will say predominantly Caucasian women had the hardest time getting over stereotypes or preconceived negative notions about me as an Asian man before they dated me. Like, I will say other people of color, specifically Black women and Asian women, have been much more open and understanding with dating an Asian man, and I've always felt celebrated by other people of color. And again, I don't think we should be striving. We're talking about Asian masculinity, but that does not equate meaning that we're trying to get Caucasian women to find Asian men attractive. That's not the case, because at the end of the day, we're golden, and we don't need the gratification of white people to say that we're good looking, because we're good looking regardless. You know what I mean? Like, hey, cool. If I have noticed, especially with BTS and the advent of Asian entertainment and seeing faces that look like ours on the big screen, that the attractiveness level of Asian men has risen in recent years, right? But even when I see white women tell me how all of a sudden they find Asian men attractive, I kind of think that's disgusting. We've always been attractive. Why? It took you BTS, or it took Squid Game, or whatever Korean drama that you're all like, don't fetishize me. I've always been Asian. I've always been golden. I've always been attractive. I've always been masculine. I didn't need Hollywood to tell me that. I didn't need BTS to tell you that. It helps. It makes me feel more celebrated when I see people that look similar to me on these elevated platforms. But I've always been, long before BTS, long before Squid Game, long before all these things that you think it's a phenomenon that all of a sudden Asian men are attractive. Hell no. Sorry it took you that long. I've always been this. I've always been attractive. I've always been masculine, however you feel that term to be. And I've always been me. And if you needed that to kind of convince yourself, I feel sorry for you.